possibilities. Coastaltv, a world of endless possibilities. Coastaltv, a world of endless possibilities.
Adeshimama me mamajo emamo akwaba eba Coastaltv eso eye health check dwumedie yapomudin dwumedie a Coastaltv ya wada bia ye de bro no emre no abo no nwotwe apahonsima no mienu pepepe enenso Coastaltv atenase ye ne wo ba betwetwe apomudin ho nkomo na wonsonso wehu kwan abefa so a obebo ho ban afiri yare ho afiri niema a ense emfata wonsa ne be ya wonso benya nkwa tenten na watena asase so aye ne Yankopon de oba ase ewo se wonso womra na wo meye midin no de Afiba na enumere health check dwumadie na wuguso a wo hwei se umbo modern emben wu TV na waben amame bo modern ase obefrefe onua obusuafo wadofo na obi anso etimi anya ne chefa ewo health check dwumadie yi mu kan hu se digital channel no eye 514 obetimi so ahweye ewo Facebook ananso se YouTube na onso wanya o chefa won koma ye ba bedi mu kan hu se opese won frɛ na woni ye entwetwe nkoma a number no eye 0508206846 0508206846 obetimi so eja comment ewo Facebook anase YouTube ye beko na ye no atwetwe nkomo senie ese ene asema ye ba beka no asem bia ehuhia da bia ye kan asema ehuhia de na so ene so de no enwumren so mene ohoho okukudamba kon ewo fia ha sei ye friend no Mr. Francis DORDUNU oye lecturer ewo Ankaful Psychiatric Nurses Training School na odi ni dwuma enwumre ye de plane na kwakofa no abefia ha sei na oni ye ba bedi nkomo ewo ye mental health ho opening patrol me ma wakwa aba ema wadwo eba Coastaltv so that's it mi gidi se obo ade Yankopon na dum bibia ye fine
Nyamiado ehu ye
edanyami ase kan hu say ye lecturer or ye broni kakra say me kan ye di plane na kofa ne bai nti no ai be mix brofo ne kakra ne fante no ne twie no na che say onsonso wanya oho enti ase na yensemre no Mr. DORDUNU yen go straight into your topic for as o mental health nkofo be adwin say eye abodam ho asem ne ye ba beka inti no se na be ya meni metiefo ye benya ye ho nsiase no ye hwase ne ndikan define mental health ye ka say mental health kra na eye dia
okay me da say me chetiefo nyina ene don hwe a mama ye say yen cheche apomodin ho asem a good thing, especially coming from October, the mental health awareness month.
Yeah.
And so it's a good thing that you become mental health. See now, most of the time, second mental health, be benign. Him say, about that money we was say we need to eat for so being in the subium. Yeah. We create a barrier or a stigma around the condition. But I will say you say you can't adjust your area. It's just like Wako Hospital now. I can say oh me malaria. Okay. And now say Wako Hospital I can say oh me nyebu. And now me hunam we enya me fine. system biya any yarea efa. Into say adrenaline so far yarea and na yefe mental health illness or mental health disorder.
Okay.
Into any bibia ye hu bia or say ye criticize unfair barrier towards nkofo more sa adwumu yarea. It's just like yare bia but just as yare we I can't yardring. That's where the problem is. It's just that near almost exhibiting or na symptoms almost exhibiting and then my ye who almost say mo de almost same fata nipemu. But entisa yare no na affect and I say yare no affected adrenal. That's what we see them exhibit those symptoms.
Okay.
I think it's something that we have to talk on, like we have begun this evening. Because baby a ekika kono ebedu baby no ye streets ni na menim say ogofo de monya toa you see Capecoast town usha baby na the streets no because yenye ya said ye as families yenye ya said ye as individuals yenye ya said ye as a government or as a people because we have ya creating a barrier ninti ama tisi ano number no so na eko nipa no ne emotions ni behavior and nyama ne only nipa relation problem into me ACP no so go for if it continues for some time for a period of time depending on duration a bit make say nipa no adwemu yare sane ebeka afa adwemu yare ho.
Okay. Na sane wodi nkan kan no na che se nipa no na adwen no ene memfa say for the lack of better words normal human beings and shada enye pe. Na me pese wo church mu say bia se obi da suban bia di na se ye betimi agina so akata nipa ko no wanya adwemu yare a suban be sa se nipa ko no eko school ana se wada den suban ene ye betimi akasa nipa we die wanya adwemu yare.
Okay, so I was saying careful say because we were adwemu yare because nyama we come into play for us to make a diagnosis say adwemu yare. It is not just the behavior of the person.
Okay.
Because if just the behavior, we may not be able to give a right diagnosis because nya obeye organa ha no I make say nya oyende enu ano no ukoye o mindful for so a so because no we are adwumu yare into sometimes culture comes to play or geographical location comes to play. We have to look at the person's nurturing. Okay. Yetete no we hin ntete no onya no was nya oye no is it normal?
Okay.
Around him. If the relation is not fruitful or is something that affects his day-to-day life or affects his day-to-day living, then you better say nipa no oyenya adwumu yare. Depending on the time frame, imagine that what we do na onkasa obi aho. Why you juma obi kasa ho fi no. Wo setting we Ghana ha no ye hu say normal. Especially say to so na affect ejuma na wo ye na. Because enye normal. Okay. Because as a normal human being, we are not islands. I will say me know it me bon komo, it me chuchun komo. But if you are off those things, then we are saying that such a person is likely suffering from a mental health condition, and we must be careful again because enye say nipa na eye na nenkwana and you say oh on your adwumu yare say I didn't to aso. So suban na ode di no eto aso na ye hu say ato aso akodu pepesu bi affecting ejuma oye affecting ono nipa relation with people and affecting ejuma oye man ejuma want me we because of ni suban na ode di nti ejuma woman assignment want me nye ono aso na pomodin in terms of maintaining her personal or his personal state want me nya such a person will have a mental health said to be having a mental health condition. Okay. I want to break that point. If I am, for example, myself, I am known that I wake up very early. Yeah. I maintain my personal hygiene. Me dware, me see me home, me see me them. Now all of a sudden, me sorry me dware biom. Okay. All of a sudden, me nkasa obi ahun biom. Meanwhile, they used to know me to be very social. Me ya me kwa bonten ko me dia grow. All of a sudden, me suban sisa. Me ben biom. In terms of some system home be mean me them impra me ko ejuma so ejuma ye dem ma me ejuma nka me dem emiji e na hoden ye no me tumi nye so who sa de no ewo obi mu for some time no who say no enye sa na nipa ne tie a such a person is likely to suffer from a mental health problem or issue that needs to be addressed.
Okay.
And if it continues for a very long time and it interferes with the person's personality or his environment, then the person is likely developing what? A disorder.
Okay. Okay. Now, answer ne yebeka say obi enya mental health disorder no. Eye den na de ba we beka say causes of mental health disorder. E den ya na be ye obi and I say I'm a normal human being, like I said, for lack of better words. Me a normal human being. Na meti ho one day me sorry preocupa na ma sha say ye ni ma bia ensem fata. Eye den na e beto me enti a metimi act in an abnormal way.
Okay, so this question helps us to understand that we must not stigmatize them.
Okay.
Ye na no ye prone. Ye wonyema nketekete wo ye ho a se bibi be trigger na se bibi be ka ho a ye betimi nya adwumo yare.
Okay.
First of all, obi mu ho a yare no ewobusuanim. Your friend your cow before say genetic.
Oh.
There are some genetic makeup of individuals are predisposed and I say a ma wakonya say bibi kese etoa a bit mama wenya adwumo yare.
Okay.
It is a busuani so bi wo adwumo yare ho na se nipa ba ko mienu bi e wo adwumo yare e wo busuani ma chances say obi e wo busuani bitimi nya so high e wo ho. It is any pano se bibi ambe trigger maybe ho na ohwe ne dofo bi and I say obi ohwe japade bi a because genetic and I say sa yare no busuani mu de ada no sa you can choose say atore say man say accident na atu no say edin so na wontumi an continue tumi enkenya no ho a say edin so a bit mama nipa no lose in the mind.
Wow.
So first of all genetic.
Okay.
And also sex. Yare no ebi mu ho a
so your
ba na bema ebi mu ho a etum ma bebre sen in bema.
Okay.
An example is depression. Obinya depression and most of the times ladies ninya depression more than member no. It is depending on your sex, you are prone to a particular condition, a mental health condition. Until I was born by yourself show so ye so that the triggering factors never to say sika same our anything that can cause stress or anxiety in you, say trigger that predisposing factor now one and accidents, road traffic accidents. Say unya accident bia affect car adrena obetime nya adwumo yare. So sometimes obi mu nya accident wie omo ye nya adwumo yare ye de omo de omeko labs ne scans bebre atwe say adreno atochimana. So accident can also be a cause of, and also environmental factors.
Okay.
Environmental factors and also how we maintain our health.
Okay.
Our physical health can also lead to mental health conditions if we don't maintain it well. An example is obi o malaria. Won treat malaria year. Emwanu betimi afro akọ adwunum akọ cause problem ama adwuna na ama nipa nya malaria anya adwumu yare. Another thing I want to draw our attention to is in paper no yenkola no abofra ye ka say osraka no. Sometimes the temperature go very high. Oh, with the young for is too good. So meanwhile, maybe it could be an infection. Also more treat it. But I'm not sure with fear. No one says so I can only so Sanya man manage a colony year. So we near because convulsion affect a colony drink. So later in life, we say a colony exhibit behavior be and I say mental health symptoms be obey say then I buy because a bar fit and column near buy and one treating ye until I can't adrenal.
Okay.
It's maybe we do towards children, thinking that when they grow, it will subside. Because we do not manage them well, it can later in life lead to mental conditions. An example is giving a knock.
Oh.
Is the brain. We are talking about the brain. Any effect, any trauma to the brain can also cause a mental health condition. In the trauma, any accident, so the be back quality, so ube cynical too. And that's the only ability. Be you know the biabon unity. Adrenaline causes harm to it, and it can later in life lead to mental health conditions.
Oh.
Some of these things and also our diet, what we eat. The mind must be strong. Just like we exercise to stay healthy, the mind also needs a lot of things to stay healthy. The food you eat very matters. So if you're not eating a well-nourished diet, you are also causing harm to the brain.
Okay.
And which can cause a mental health disorder.
Well-nourished diet now, what can na me person which room kakra. Eduane be na we be fa ne say no ne well-nourished.
Okay, so the well-nourished diet, we used to say a balanced diet.
Okay.
Diet that contains the essential nutrients that the brain needs. We must, aside the carbohydrate that is normal, that is in the system. Any food we eat, most of the food we eat has carbohydrate component. But our protein, our vitamins, our vegetables, our fruits are very essential.
Okay.
Very, very essential, because these things help the other food substances that we take to be absorbed or to be digested and absorbed into the bloodstream for it to be used by the brain. Until you can well-nourished diet, it containing our protein. Let me break it down. Our protein, our vitamins, our essential elements or essential vitamins that the body needs to grow or to stay healthy. That's what we must not only focus on carbohydrates. Kinky. Fish kitwe bi no we dinner no fruit the whole week only fruit po. Wow. Only bibia no vegetable. Bankunu meku inchinam kitwe bi throughout the week and nkwa no di. It is not a balance or it's not a nourished diet. Right. You need to eat more fruits, more vegetables. Especially now that we are having a lot of problem with the food we eat in terms of how it is cultivated. Yeah. A lot of chemicals being used. We must try as much as possible to take a fruit a day. Okay. At least a fruit a day. If you cannot afford, let's get a fruit a day. It's good for us. And more vegetables in terms of the food we eat. Okay.
Then we are very well-balanced diet. Okay. Now, moving on, no, me person me who say you can mental health disorder now. What are some of the types of mental health disorders? And I'm person.
Oh, okay. So mental health disorders, there are a lot. Okay. There are a lot to mention. But what I will say is that there are. Let me just classify them as neurotic disorders and the psychotic disorders. Oh. One has to do with more of anxiety. I say a be a share until say a cause a lot of problem, a cause effect on life. Obi wa pipe obi tima ko ha ko wo se nsa. E wo kakra na osako ko wo se nsa biom. Obi say oh misa efi. Obetina ojo within 5 minutes ko wo se nsa. Obi say na say oh so se nsa efi. Obetima nya yare bi. Enti yare bi wo ha e the anxiety na e dey ba esuro na ehu and e dey ba. There was those conditions which are falling under neurosis. Okay. Then we have conditions that we say they are psychotic. That one, the brain, or it's more of effect on the mind or the brain. Let me say the organ. So the person may exhibit psychotic symptoms. That's what most people talk about when we say mental condition. Most of the times you focus on those ones. But we must take note that most of us who move day to day, most of us have this illness, this neurotic disorders. Okay. Or to them, this will be by kind of them. These are all mental health conditions, but you think that they are normal. Same in coming to me in a room. Obi wa, it will look in a pon. No, my two put no sabba baby. I will check out. But my son over and over. These are all disorders. Wow. Then we can talk about forgetfulness in Rebecca's amnesia. Obi ni really fear again tem. Oka some changes na upi na ko bazia. Obi sana ontminka. Wow. Those things are all mental health disorders. I'm mentioning the common ones that are close to us that we see in our day-to-day home that we think that normal and maybe they be the age we do so they be or just some paso. Wow, and also a mental health disorder. It's a disorder. Okay. Age we do na yes, but it's a obey so good paso maybe 15. Still no just so good paso. These are all conditions that mental health we attend to as mental health health workers. And also we have severe headache. Okay. We call migraine.
Okay.
It's been lingering for a very long time. What treat over and over.
Okay.
It's also something that we attend to. Now let's come to the main ones that we see then on the street. Then we have the schizophrenia. That one, I don't have to use technical because there are people who are watching. There are people who are very paranoid in terms of onam krana obi esrekwa so nipa na esre no.
Oh.
O krana nkofo ehiem no mo diom komokra o so omo plan so meku no. Omo plan say omo kan ho asem and omo ye hihye bi so person omo attack no.
Wow.
Such a person has a mental health disorder. He needs to seek for help. And there are people also who are always isolated from the group. It is not something normal of them. All of a sudden they become withdrawn. They isolate. They don't want to mingle with the group. Such a person also needs a mental health assessment.
Okay.
And there are people who once were interested in an activity or an event, all of a sudden, they need maybe social events. All of a sudden, they need the word is apathy. They've drawn apathy towards those activities. We must not see it to be normal, and yet normal.
Okay.
It's gradual. To get to some point in time, you see that the symptoms will become worse. But when we see those things in them, you will say such a person will need a mental health assessment or mental health assistant. And also, like the ones that we see or we ignore, in terms of even how you dress, how you put up your dressing, the color, and how you set up, can even give me a clue that no, such a person is prone or is likely to be having a mental health condition.
Okay.
So such a person is likely not to be suffering or to be having a mental health condition. And there are people who are also depressed. When I say depressed, extreme sadness. The whole day, almost for 2 weeks or a month, why quiet? Whatever amuses him or her previously, no. They see a catching upon a ninja. So maybe concerts and I say movies. All of a sudden, the ninja or he or she is no more interested in those kind of things anymore. They are depressed. They are withdrawn, and they have those thoughts of taking their own life. When we see those things, these people all need mental health assistance or help. So there are a lot, but I'm just trying to hit on some of the symptoms that we will see on people in our environment for us to know that no, such a person needs help. And now, in terms of communication, kasa. Also, we are only needing common kasa no so. Or kasa we fix that topic no can want no kasa for. Asem no can so age. Such a person needs a mental health assistant. Okay. And there are people also who have not accepted themselves. He has not accepted and embraced who he is. Okay. I want to be careful here because most of the times when I say the ladies will tend to get angry, but it is the truth. Okay. If this is your structure, this is how God has made you, and you want to change it using rigorous or radical means to change them. Like such a person has a feeble, let me not use that word, but such a person will need a mental health assistant because such a person have not got a good self-esteem. Oh, okay. If you are a mentally sound person, we want to see you that you accept yourself, you accept human nature, you accept that however you have been created, that's how you are. Although we sometimes make up, but to cause a drastic change, you are a male, you want to become a female. You are fair, you are dark, all of a sudden want to become fair. That's a structure in the family, and all of a sudden when you eat you have to induce vomiting. Obi wa odidi no sudden the session minimum no person so okita shebi obi to stay off food for a very long time and just so fast so such a person has a low self-esteem and gradually can develop a mental health condition if the person is not assisted. So there are a lot of categories, there are a lot of things we can talk about in terms of mental health condition. Another thing is independent. There are people who have age but they can't take decisions. We need maybe also the age we do know. Still, or percent of papa say kojo ye we, kojo koda kojo why we, or percent Such a person also has a mental health problem that, if it is not assisted, can affect him later in life.
Okay.
And also a degree of non-conformance. There are people who always want to go by the majority. Which side of class are? Class, do you understand?
Yes, sir.
He doesn't have a stand. Such a person, if gradually he grows up, it can affect him mentally.
Wow.
Because always he'll be dependent on others. But in mental health, we expect it to be independent when you get to a certain stage in life.
Okay.
So there are some symptoms that we see with people or among our own siblings, among our friends, that gives us a clue that such a person, if care is not taken, he'll get to a certain point and he'll develop a mental health condition.
Wow. I'm
giving these symptoms just for us to appreciate those around us. I don't want to talk about the main conditions that we see on the street. Those ones, at least we can all attest that no, such a person has a mental health condition. But in our homes, in our society or in our communities, there are people who are doing little things that should give us a clue that such a person is likely to develop a mental health condition.
Okay.
And there are people who don't have a good gene. And your thoughts depicts your behavior. It is when you be out negative. Oh, we are the people being to bubble. I dream for whom na a negative. And then so we have to correct that negative thinking for you to live a fruitful life as a normal human being.
Okay. Now, my person maybe say before the person can go into the streets, when you mental health disorder, no, does it start from a point like we have early stage, middle stage, like is it in stages? And now or starting and now just say what's the sequence?
So like the symptoms I've just mentioned, these are just build up. So we have acute and we have the chronic.
Okay.
So some of them, all of a sudden it can happen. The patient may exhibit all of a sudden say, oh, what you say, or yeah, maybe I will just no, or yeah, be bring now. So we say symptoms no, boy and kai back, but you need koho. Oh, why one be it's annoying. Oh, why no say because he need koho no, you won't in them. But it being so all of a sudden I see, but we bring now so a boy and kai from the beginning. Gradually it builds up.
Okay. Okay.
But it's because we don't pay attention. And I say yeah drink kohunti. We are unable to detect that. Oh, I did with na me person my example. Mami be who ye say neba who say why are attractive. We get too much. Obi who ye so we also who I say who counselor no. And I say ombra unit one na access akola no. I think later we'll be catching some collide as I know to me it's in Pepino a boy in Kaya, but if a foot around and I say near Uncle Foki come around you're funny serious onto our west.
Okay.
So such a person can even grow up and start to exhibit mental health condition. Wow. But the because oh when you no start here, but oh yeah no you be and can say you who say no way or be here mental health assistance. In there are clues from the beginning, but we don't pay attention to them. But there are some also that all of a sudden it just happens. It just takes us. It's acute.
Now me read BB online area and now I can say obi num edro like edro bo ha it mean side effects of mental health disorder.
Yes,
okay.
So yeah, hormones that are there. So the relay of information, information is a relay or your brain. They are just chemicals. What happens is that when we a drubi over, it remember those chemicals. No, so when it increases them, the person may start to exhibit those mental health symptoms.
Oh.
So there should always be a balance of those chemicals in our brain.
Okay.
It's in such a way that there's always a balance. The body now regulates balance, but sometimes you know sign drona. It remember a dose and a bro do and can say your brain at a given time, and such a person can exhibit those mental conditions because the brain no longer has control over messages, sending of messages, and I say whatever the person reacts to. So it's there.
Oh, okay. Now, yedi kan aka we nyina wie no. Me pese me hu say kwan papa bi wo ho a ebia ye lifestyle ye day to day activities ye betimi afa na yetimi esi sa mental health disorders na no ye be say yenhwe prevention measures individually ye betimi aye so na be ya yentimi experience mental health disorder.
Okay, so it's good that we all at a point in our life understand that we are all prone.
Okay.
We reach me am yenya adwumo yare. Now I will say a boy home buying so that we don't get those mental conditions. First one I make say genetics. Say obusuani ma doesn't mean we be say until you say hey papa bi wo obusuani won so will be e chese me me bia na dey be eno nkyere. But say unya factor bi na say if you are exposed to any stressor, any bibia dey or how and I say adwendwen bro bia no e betimi akoyi yare ne pie. Nti what we have to do is that we always have to manage our stress.
Okay.
Adebia dey or share and I say stress cry can twi mo saying.
You can say.
Or share or the stress and or share everybody so and I say pressure abrain no or say you see anon kwan. It is we school near men train last minute and what could be a book a same person swinging and some exams. I will say Bobreno Usianica cracker so they be do hono now wait to make cover but who did to now last minute person swinging us our pressure now brain it can expose you because medical like I say it's all about the chemicals. If you put more pressure it means that you are forcing the organ to produce those chemicals which may be more than what the body or the brain requires at that given time. So we must manage our stress. Another thing we also have to do is we must avoid drugs.
Okay.
Any substance that can influence or can affect the way the brain ought to be functioning, we must work on them.
Okay.
So those who are taking in cocaine, cocaine can go too much. Tramadol, all this shisha, all those medications has direct effect on the brain.
Okay.
So if you are taking those drugs that make you to feel good, you think that it's making you to feel good. I am repeating that it's having effect on the brain gradually, or like we said, you can develop a mental condition because you are putting pressure on the brain or the chemicals of the brain at that given time. So we must abstain from them, and also we must exercise. Exercise helps a lot because who exercise here. There is a chemical called endorphins. They are released. It makes the brain to feel good. I don't know how it was. It's just like you are tasty and you are being served. You are being served water. When you take it, you see how you are refreshed. Yeah. Anytime you exercise, those chemicals are released to the brain, and it relaxes the brain a lot, and even the whole body. So we must exercise. We must exercise very well. At least we can cry once, 2 or 3 times there. You ought to exercise so that you stay healthy. Our diet, we've already made mention of. We must eat good food, most especially our fruits and vegetables. We must eat a lot of vitamin B. It helps a lot. It helps to nourish the brain a lot, and the mind stay healthy. Reducing and also reporting to the hospital early for treatment or assessment. Sometimes they won't say to be able want to be we must report to the hospital. It is best we manage or we report early for early treatment, early diagnosis and treatment. So yare ne tena ho na echa ni treating no edin. It is paper no because so adwumu yare de yentu ase because most of times ye twema eye west and say dey aba hospital eye west ni treating no eye din. But oba ntem na ye show na ye timi so anu ntem a and you can recover. You can go and continue the work you are doing. But most of the times we relax and we wait until it deteriorates. And you can't even manage. And suddenly you didn't hospital. That is not helping. So let's report early. Let's eat good food. Let's exercise. And let's manage our stress. And in managing our stress, we must manage our time. And also, who we work with, our environment, can also play a role. You are working with such a person and it's always bringing about stress to your life, or you are living in an environment that is very stressful, it can have an effect on your mental health. OTBB are always, I say, it's having effects on you mentally. I say, brain, but him and only is Ankaful be now say I thought shebu also. You must look at that company again.
Okay.
Because gradually it will affect your mental health. Let me give an example.
Okay.
You are living in an environment that is very noisy. What point you better? Now, noise won't mean will rest. It can affect your mental health. You may not see it directly, but gradually you start to see the symptoms.
Oh.
So we must look at the environment or the people we work with. There are people that when you work with them, they are all trances. It may show so like it's as if it causes some stress or some anxiety in you.
Okay.
They alter words or they say things that affect you mentally or psychologically. Into me only na okay bia it me show akufi kwa akodwun ukokra to mean that.
Wow.
Me wan nipa yi or danfo. De bia nyo beka bia no a show and I say we say how emotionally. E ma we ni nje na e ma e dia rewo bro. Such a company, when you work for a very long time, can affect you psychologically. You may not know, and gradually you become a mental problem.
Wow.
So what we listen to also has a role to play in our mental health. So we must watch that, and also rest and sleep. Very, very important in mental health.
Okay.
The brain, just like any other organ. Say now we juma or brain, I join so a juma or a bread. I was saying home. It needs to rest to refresh itself for another day's activity. So we need to rest. If you are not resting, if you are not sleep, cannot sleep, you must rest.
Okay.
It's just that we need kumkwana is all damn paso. Sometimes what bread with my damn paso. Nobody sumie atu baby I will do but no peja on kra. Damn paso. You are just relaxing, listening to good music.
Okay.
And also bois my mental health no ACP. And also we must regulate how we work. Menkasa menye ejuma but what you say ejuma no e de ohye bebre ebro e de pressure bebre ebro a also wo na uma balance ebem kakra maybe ejuma we also we ye ene wetima chim o me we anopa we na wetima ye na in such a way that emfa pressure bebre embro also. So we must work around. One thing we must also be cautious is that we should be intentional about maintaining our mental health.
Okay.
I also share some person my mental health ACP. So that when you are doing things, you are measuring or you are gauging how stress, how much stress they bring to you. If you are not intentional, you just be doing anything, and you might not be aware, but you may be affecting or maybe causing problem to the brain.
Wow.
So let's be cautious and let's be intentional about mental health.
Mental health. Okay. In the end, say, my near ukanyina, but. It got to a time in my life I've been diagnosed with mental health disorder. What are my treatment options? Okay, so about mental health treatment, we have a lot of treatments. Okay. The reason why I'm stressing that also we report in terms say, and you need na drew. Mpepi no nkofo nimse wo adwuma yere ko ma we drew bi edru na ma wa enu anu de bi treatment ni bi wo ha enye edru. Okay. Into your psychological management and no yem fa edru nka ho. Okay. And no ye de kasa and ye de techniques bi ye be check techniques bi a obeye oye wi a etumi boa ma sa ohaw na ofem no ekofom most especially say we reporting tema into psychological treatment or your CBT or types of psychotherapy. We have a lot of them that we can employ. That's a bit boy and you for drone count and no a bit wow and now if you cry no a bit much some techniques we are use a bit wow in terms of an example is maybe listening to music, taking a walk. Who say pressure on the something and no sound on ni na exercise. You bit make say on take days break on now like maybe I on take a walk and on once in a while puna no gym from market on taking the life off the regular schedules no. On change schedules no keke e beboa. Obi wo ha on tie nyum keke you just enjoy music once and you be encouraging no just to others could also be asked to join groups. Or maybe support groups via just kasa ya ebebo manipa nefi. We have treatment that will not require you taking medication. But our focus is that, or our point is that you must report early. Because if it deteriorates, it means that those treatments may not be suitable for you. We may have to add the medication. Aside the psychological treatment, your physical treatment, and
and no ye draw and chemicals be ebe ma na wo the additional diagnosis ebe ma no say draw be no so doctor na be catch us say okay we be no me draw we ebe see ha na obe ma schedule or a prescription or a dosage for you to take for a time and also then we also have our social treatment, that maybe recreational therapy and all those things that we can give. So there are varied treatment depending on your report about.
Okay.
And in Pepin, most of them, if you report early, we will always put you on the psychological treatment, which is very, very effective.
I was for mental health and common and ye guswa ye didn't come on the baby age, I had done Casancasa, I just told me say. And yet, Nina and a year abodam, so abodam na what's here, Sijo. I am Pempina, ye we a nugusono, and no so it's me higher, either in the short run and I say in the long run. Say very important, say a brainy a baby no one casa as nippon obe assess so now who mental health states na health professionals and also it's me abwa who in tema. And no only a drew be any as what is a mere own pay drumia, and no one intend them fast near near no dream near their managers and want to only will be any as India. Name say, oh, train a boo and nuguswa, and no, and a ya a dear some ebano. Mental health in common and ye guswa ye dino. Now, Mr. Dordunu, wedding kind aka treatment options in. Ewiano na me read BB online and me person Mrs. Subio now or say statistics say that in Ghana approximately 13% of Ghanaians have mental disorder. 13% population in 13% have mental disorder. Okay. However, there's a 98% treatment gap, meaning that the vast majority of people needing mental health support do not receive it. Na me ready way na area okay but my mention and say over population ni nyina na emu oha enchichemu edumiensa 13% ewo adwemu yare nanso no 13% ni nyina no ko mu nyina boma se ba no ekwan e befa so treat ana say enyem e beboa ema yetimi treat sa yare ya like in about 98%, I say 98%, nipa 2% pe, and yetimi more yetimi show mama adwem yare no efi na 98% ne de say gap bia yenhu ekwan e befa so asa yare no efi ho. Nti misalo no be say me bisa say ye share Ghana overall na how are you treating mental health no? How is it lacking? What are the things that we are lacking? Then na yenni and nti ama ase baby abefa bia obeshi abodam for back.
Was it abodam for back? Okay. So I think a national problem. So we can't have say a Capecoast problem. It's a national problem because any assessment we Ghana population are way. How many general hospitals in your every region be our regional hospital, your teaching hospital, your district hospitals, your polyclinics, your clinics, your chip compound, your health facilities all over. But psychiatric hospitals are here in Ghana. So your Accra Mental, your Pantine, and your Ankaful. Just 3 psychiatric hospitals managing the whole country. So that's just with that estimation or just that analysis, you see the gap. Nti Ankaful say Ankaful fi north all the patients baha Ankaful fi Kumasi Ankaful fi all those regions up there nipa baha. So imagine say when your clients we na ubusu ni bi wa and as northern region now we need sikana obi be transporting if you home keke abaha. Will you follow up that treatment? It means that such a patient or such an individual will be left on the street. Wow. Yeah, you keep so Ankaful here. But ye mu ahina ye say o case we dey say na ye no ye fandin kwa Ankaful ye dey meko. Baby na ye fandin ko. And ye be jam so on na nkwan so. No obi an ye safe so. Enti gap no crowd we share national crowd. Utumu say there is issue in terms of accessibility.
Yeah.
You need hospitals no. You 3. Aside that some years ago mental health used to be free. When you go there, you don't pay anything. But you see now, cost of treatment cry also.
Wow.
It's very expensive now. You are not paying less than 2,500 for admission.
Wow.
Every month you'll be paying. How many families members can be paying 2,500 every month for for treatment?
Wow.
So in terms of financial obligation and other financial commitment, pushing go for away from even coming out that no problem, we present me good treatment. Things have become very difficult. So in terms of even aside the accessibility, in terms of the financial obligation from family members or from people who need the care, it's becoming a challenge to them. Now medications. We don't have it. It's not coming like it used to be. Now that's a challenge now. So just the treatment, and I'm walking around just the treatment. Hospital not being available, cost of treatment expensive, and also medication. Just the factors around us, those things alone, the country or as a nation, we are not there yet, or we've not jumped that hurdle. It's a problem. Now let's come to our homes. Even in terms of knowledge, little idea, and I say have minimum knowledge on mental health. Omuka adwuma yare omunti ase. Obinya adwuma na oye nyame bi ofi so esosum ni na na bi na omabo ne dua bibisa nti o we de nya adwuma yare o se ko hu susu sofo bi. Ya koto prayer camp ya chichire no ho. 1 year or the winning. In terms of knowledge in the crowd, the country, we have to do more in terms of acquiring the knowledge in mental health. The knowledge level is too low. So in terms of treatment, we are not even ready to assess it because we think that it is not mental illness, but other causes are involved. Yeah. So that is also there. And also media. Let me come to media. Okay. How do we depict mental illness to the public? Then you train for mental illness. You movie crowd show mental illness. You be what you feel to me say no adwumu yare. You train for say obi crash the coat or adwumu yare. Inti pepi ni person nipa no on the streets or sa robber or na say odimika why no basa na say we adwumu yare. Meanwhile obi say or bank or botai or adwumu yare. But you who say no adwumu yare go we there or you bank. Inti knowledge on mental health crano e form e Ghana ha. So we end up not coming forward for help. The next thing is stigma. Me na nko kase mo adwumu yare na dachi mo de o matini o mo sa o so we also adwumu yare. O makoja ha tinti sa adwene kra se me ko kase mo adwumu yare kra nko fo kase we abodam we adwuma we man fama we abodam pen. So sa adwene kra no esi nko fo kwan se o mo de o mo beba se me wadwumu yare me hiamwa mo mboa me. Sa stigma alone no amani pe bebre na o mo condition e worse ansa no maba. Inti eka that hurdle now in terms of access no ye conform back because of the fear of being stigmatized. Inti ye media we have to watch nyama ye depict it. Say about mental health then ye can fa it should be facts and not just rumors or things that we think that are which are not. And also the stigma in our community is just too much. Even it goes to a long way to affect even workers in mental health settings. Hey, we do Ankaful. So even the stigma alone is to the health worker and not to talk about the patient. Wow. So everybody is afraid to even come out that now say me fear them. I say they are suffering from, but they can't come out to the hospital that I have this problem, help me. Or maybe to me finifie. Aba hospital say enemy ba say me nyare but mo chichire me sa mo nya we mame ba empan hin na nipa ananti aba hospital say be say mo susu ma adwinhwe say me wa adwumu yare ana empan nipa be na enkoye sa because omo suru say obi beka say wa adwumu yare meanwhile it me sorry ko chichire yensa ye koye test me koye lab me hwe say me akoma ebu ya but be na ntimi ko hospital enka say mo susu me na me hwe say me wa adwumu yare ana it is not there. So nyama ketenketi we na no na ma sa percentage na we read this here no aba until we do with all those factors, this number will continue to increase.
Wow. It was for and common idea, but yemre no enya yebre. Yebe na ya story so na na ye de akwakoda. Me sure say what be. Ben so matibi. Na o say Ghana no. Na make say abodam phone baby abefa bia obehie bi. On say abodam phone no na ne onam kwan so na ne wan efi no kwan ne wa hye coat. Ono so ka ho. Ebetimi akwa wa say ne original purpose ni so o preach no. Ono so ka ho. It's not just say no. There's a probability say one way or the other no. Ye experience adwemu yare bia. Ye bu ye ni aguso. Say we dey so we dey nsanya hwe. Na ni we fi ade we so ye den. E wo say no ye man ne ya di hiasem. Say ne wo ko hospital Mr. DORDUNU e ka no. Wo ko hospital ko chiche wo inside show blood sugar or blood pressure ne ade no. E wo say wo mfa wa adwen no so mfa kan. Adwen no so is part of the body. Adrenal a part of the body and say utinye adwuma onipadua no ntimi fa yehwe nti bomodin say many abrebia no obekọ hospital no akọhwe wa adrenal so e de aka a higher health check dwumadi Coastaltv digital channel 514 Facebook and YouTube and na obehu ye na watimi eni edi nkomo no mental health no eno na ye de abrewa enwumre won so waje wudie sebia afa na wa ben wo TV na kan hu se e wo Facebook ni YouTube na ntino se wantimi mpa hwe wo TV no so betimi akohwe wo online na osonso oni edi nkomo se me din kan no wo comment bia wo betimi eja wo ho ye se ye bie channel na ye be attend to you na nkomo bia wo bia nso no ye no edi yemfa aseda ema mpemfo ame no mo studio ha se yo mo bo ame eye Ben ene eje Ankaful nhyia mo bebre wo mmoa mesan so ada Mr. DORDUNU Mr. Francis DORDUNU oye lecturer ewo Ankaful Psychiatric Nurses Training School eho na odi ni dwuma ansa na eba be stories no Mr. DORDUNU say na wedi nkan aka no before say we ma wo last remarks kwa ansa na stories no gap no wo ho ehun se Ghana no ye ho nso se ba no kwan ye befa so a treaty psychiatric disorder na ade na enti no se na yedi nkan kan ye no be se wusan so esisu biem me as nipa no akwan ben so na meti afa so abọ me ho ban afi sa mental health disorder related issues no na ebi ankwa nkoto me se won sisu biem maye ho no hia me pa ansa na wa ma last remarks na ya sorry so.
Okay, so I will say that first of all, I say while we read about mental health, knowledge is power.
Okay.
I will say we dear efa mental health condition. You can't mental health condition mental health so we need so we was dear na so what is be cast some crowd we say we enye correct because in paper no nye eti wa bonte no nye no kre nti enu mum na yefa. Oh bibi you be oda anajo a wontumi nda otumi sorry anaju na nantisa anaso odanajo no yima hye no sorry etumi to ato aso eye bibi e be ko nya adwumu yare nyama wina no my clue say wonye nya adwumu yare enti also nya nimde we define mental bibi ye wa read fa kan efa anabisa obi say oh we ni we ye me wo hwa ye den also nya nimde fa adwumu yare ho.
Okay.
Second I will say one kasa we work wo and I can say exercise. Exercise is key to our health. If you are going to stay healthy in terms of your physical health, your emotional health, your psychological health, you need to exercise.
Okay.
We are saying that all exercises are body brain developing. We said that a chemical called endorphin, a brain relaxifying. So when we exercise regularly, the brain also stays healthy. So exercise is key in terms of our mental health. It's very important. Your diet, I'll say you did the so affect your drink. Say now, obitumi esora no pa gym, exercise the muscles no. We must also be concerned of how our brain needs to develop, and one of the key things that will make our brain develop well is what we eat.
Okay.
We need to eat more fruits, more vegetables, food that contains a lot of vitamin B. Very, very important for the development of the brain. Very, very good. Then also we made mention of rest and sleep. you will need to manage our sleep very well.
Okay.
And down here, don't deprive yourself from sleep. You need at least 6 to 8 hours sleep a day to stay healthy.
Wow.
Even if you not sleep, we make mention of what? Resting. You must be on the bed, rest. Take your mind off the busy schedules or the busy things that your environment or such company, you must look at them again. I'm not saying you should shun your company, but you must minimize the way you work with them because they are having effect on you psychologically.
Yeah.
You need to work on them. And the environment also, the environment must be serene. If your mental health is going to be sound, you are living in an environment that's very noisy. You must find a way to curtail or reduce the level of noise that interferes with your day-to-day activity. And also, we must manage our stress. Stress at work, stress at home. It's affecting you psychologically. It will affect you, your mental health. So you must manage your stress both at work and at home. To meet the stress, bro. Stress with you, but you must find a way to balance them. So sometimes in my house like this, when I come home and I want to have some time, sometimes the kids will want to, but sometimes it's not always that you can allow them to disturb your stress. Maybe you have carried stress from the house. You can sometimes assign them, give them something to be doing to channel the energy. The children are in such a way that they have high energy, so you must channel those energy into other things. Oh, could you do this one? Amma, do this one. Do this assignment. Do this. Do this. You have engaged them. Then you can have your time for yourself to rest.
Okay.
So you must manage your stress very well. It's very, very important. So with just these few things, I'm sure when you manage them well and you manage your environment well, your eating habits, exercise, I'm sure you should have a good mental health. And also report to the hospital early. If you see some things that starts to interfere with your normal routines, your normal day-to-day activity, you must report to the hospital.
Okay.
Reporting to the hospital should not be don't look at the stigma. Report to the hospital if you are not feeling well or you are not okay with your mental state or your emotional state. Report.